What is up, everybody? Sven Diesel here. This is a tutorial video showing you how I prep my popper heads. I like to prep them in advance before tying them in the vise. This is an Ahrex TP615 in a size 2/0. I have a Semperfli red classic wax thread in a 6/0. So what I'm going to do is just lay down a little bit of a thread base here. And I'm not doing touching wraps, I'm doing kind of spiraling wraps, and I'm basically covering where we're going to have this popper head. And I don't know why I like to do this, but I definitely think or have confidence in having a little bit of red thread right here behind the eye. I think it does a few things. It holds the popper head on a little bit more durable, but I also think it imitates maybe a frog sticking its tongue out at the bass and saying, hey, I'm taunting you, go ahead and come and get me. And so I like to just build up a little bit of a thread dam, and then I go up and down where the popper head is going to be laying on this hook shank with about twice, so that it definitely is giving a little bit of material to grip to, as long as the hook shank as well. So we'll do a little 3-turn whip finish. I'll do 2 of them here to secure this thread in place, because we're going to be sliding a popper head over this. So I don't want it going anywhere, so I want this to be nice and secure, and I'll do a little cinch tight there and cut it off. Now, I've also used floss for this. This is just what I had laying here as well, so the heavier denier the better. This is a Flymen Double barrel popper head. I'm going to take a bodkin here and insert it in the back. I want to kind of make sure that as I go down this, I'm following the line here, but I want to go straight through, and I don't want to pop out in the middle. I want to pop out in the bottom third, if you would. That way the popper is going to lay flat, almost parallel to the hook shank here, which gives a little bit of a good splash. And you can see right there, I'm going to push it all the way down on the bodkin so that it opens that up, makes it a little bit easier to slide over these larger eye hooks. And I'm just going to set that aside. For this, I'm going to be using Loctite super glue gel. The gel gives you a little bit more time to work with than like a crazy glue, and I've found it to be just as durable. And another product I've experimented with is Liquid Fusion. Downside of that is it takes overnight to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this on, not by pushing, but kind of twisting, wiggling, whatever I can do to kind of not push all the glue back, and just twist it on in place. And then you kind of got to punch through there at the end, and then make sure that you level it. It's even, it's perpendicular to the hook point, and so that it rides better through the water. And then I just kind of take that excess glue there and just wipe it off, so that we're not going to have too much material on the hook shank. But there we go, we have the popper head prepped or glued on. And so I'm just going to set that aside. I'll do a bunch of these at once, and so then I wait for them to dry before I do the next step, which is a lot of fun. It is going to be painting. Now, to protect our vise, if you're doing it in the vise, I just take a little post-it note and kind of trim it, and then insert the hook back into the vise, so that way as I twist this and puncture it through the post-it note here, you can see that provides a little bit of a protection for my vise for any overspray. For this, we're going to be using the Copic airbrush system. I've got a little air compressor here next to the desk so that I'm not burning through a bunch of those cans. And we're just going to be using a few different Copic markers. When you do this, the sky is really the limit. I definitely would recommend starting with the lighter colors. This is kind of a lighter green. And I'm just going to start here at the top. I want to kind of make sure that I leave the belly white and fade it to a darker color on top, and then we'll add some accents. And so I'm just going to fade this in place. You can see we're almost making this a chartreuse head. They also come in a few different colors. However, when you buy the chartreuse head, you can't have the white underside, and that's kind of why I start with a white one. You can also paint the chartreuse or fluorescent yellow, but the black one I usually just put a little bit of glitter on. So that's one that I don't paint. And then you just kind of work your way around, blending it in, and now I've got a pretty good fade there, a pretty good base layer. Work slower than faster, but I'm going to move here towards an olive now, and then we'll go ahead and start on the top and then fade that into the lighter green I just had. So you can see how you can see right there how it went darker, and we're just going to kind of fade that around. I'm working my paint a little bit slower. I'm not an expert at this. I sure do have a lot of fun doing this, and then I kind of just tap it to fade that in, and you'll notice right away if you screw up, you can't ever go lighter, but you can always go darker. So if it ends up as a black head, I know you were learning if you tag me in it. So these are a lot of fun. Another little trick for these is there's a ton of different stencils you can use. These here are from Flyskinz. I know that Hairline distributes them. You can pick them up from anybody that carries Hairline, but they're really, really awesome. I've used this over and over and over again, and it, you know, once it's dry, I don't really transfer the ink, you know, so it's not something I discard. I just save it. And now I have a black Copic marker here that I'm just kind of tapping here, making sure that I'm holding pressure on this. You can also put clips underneath to hold this mesh in place. However, for doing a quick one like this, I don't really think it's necessary to clip it all up. It's not like I'm selling these or these are professional. This is just having fun. And the paint job's really more for me than sometimes the bass, I think. And so there you go, just a quick little barring, make it look a little more frog-like. So that was kind of a little bit more fun. Makes it a little bit of more of a unique fly. I don't mind spending the extra time on these because I generally fish them for quite a while. I don't lose them as much as I would, you know, say nymphs and stuff like that. And so another little thing I like to do is I like to paint these lips here red or orange or yellow. And so I'll just take it out of the vise here and hold it, and making sure to hold it at a downward angle so that my overspray is not going onto the paint we just did. You can also, if you get a little trick, if the lip doesn't really turn out as nice, just take a Sharpie or that marker and just draw around the outside circle rather than try and paint it, so that your overspray doesn't ruin the green and the black accent color we just did. So I'll go ahead and insert that back in the vise. It's key to kind of wait in between laying that mesh down or touching this body to let those Copic markers dry fully. We're going to be putting in some eyes here. These are the Flymen dragon eyes, and they are just the correct size for this head. And I'll just insert some yellow ones right there into the grooves. Pretty easy. I don't use any super glue because I found that the super glue, when mixed with the Copic markers, can sometimes cause it to go red. And so I don't want to put any super glue on the behind the eyes or anything like that. And that's why the final step will be resining this entire body to seal this paint job so that it's protected. And for that, I'm using this Raid Zap. This is the Flex material. I've tested this all last year and had really, really good results with it. I like to start with the eyes and then kind of just smear it around, getting kind of a rough coating over the whole popper body. And then over time, I'll just kind of brush it so that you can't see any spots that maybe you'll be able to see if you missed a spot. And then make sure you seal where the rear and around the lip where it bonds to the shank, because that's where I found with other products the water got in and ruined the paint job or was the weakness. So a little bit of fun here. We're going to tie some flies with these, so make sure you check for another video. These are a lot of fun. The possibilities are endless, so make sure you have fun with it. And don't be afraid to get your fingers painted. Thanks for watching.